Hi there. I'm not sure who I will get today jumping on with me. Just going to make this a little bit lighter. Let me know who's joining. Hi Linda, how are you? I am very excited to do this project today. I've never tackled one of the Tim Holtz vignettes, and when I was at the store this fall, I was eyeballing it, so Heather sent me home with some product and I said I would commit and do it. It was always so nervous for me, I don't know why. So here we are. I do have some ideas. Linda, oh, you're good. Yes, I'm good too, and I am excited to do this vignette. I've been giving it a lot of thought as to how I want to do it. Hi Judy. It's a beautiful day here in Nova Scotia. The sun was actually out today. It's chilly, but the sun was out. I did some Christmas baking this morning and some cleaning, and this is probably going to be one of my last kind of Christmas themed projects that I'll be doing live. It's probably the last. This will be my only class this month. Maybe one somewhere between the end of December and New Year's. It just depends on what's going on, as just like every other Christmas, it's kind of come see what we get into. So it looks like there's 6 of you on, so I'm going to start. So today I am using a variety of products. Some of the stuff that Heather gave me, she made up these kind of bags of all the Tim Holtz trinkets and things, so I grabbed one of those bags, plus I purchased some other stuff, so everybody's bag is going to be a little bit different. What I encourage you to do is just dig into your stash, and I will share with you the products that I use from my stash. I've been collecting Tim Holtz products for a long time. Hi Michelle. So I still have some of their big dies, and I'm glad that he's starting to take some of those big dies and put them into thinlits. Because the reason why I say that is if you don't have a Sizzix machine, you can't get those dies through. I purchased a Gina K machine, and it's supposed to accommodate all dies, but I've been a little bit too nervous to try the big dies. But I have an old Sizzix machine here that I keep it for that reason. And I have to say, I've tried many different machines, and I really like the Sizzix. I keep finding myself going back to the Sizzix. But getting off topic, hi Carolyn. Thank you ladies for joining me. So we're going to do a vignette, and I did enough pre-cutting and stuff that I'm hoping we can finish it together. So this is the one I have. This is 9 by 9 square, and I want to put dimension. I have some of the lights, so we're going to do some fun things. So first of all, I just want to lay some paper down, and I already trimmed pieces to fit inside. So the tray is 9 by 9, so I cut it 8.5 by 8.5 because I figured I need to give it some room for the trim, and it's actually quite perfect. So because this is a vignette, I'm going to go in heavy duty, and I'm going to use score tape on this because I want to make sure all the layers stay put. And the paper I'm using, I did purchase a whole package of the it's this paper. It was this package here. So this is backdrops, and I love that. And there's lots of patterns. Yes, it's kind of Christmassy, but there's lots of patterns you can use outside of Christmas as well. But I know me, I'm going to put what I have left over in my Christmas bin and store it till next year. But I do have to do my December calendar page yet. And I'm thinking I'm going to do that tomorrow in between baking, getting my baking finished. And I might just use these products while I have them out, because I really do like them. I love the prints of them. So I'm going to put, so I cut 2 pieces. The backdrops are actually 6, they come as 6 by 10. So I left it 6 and I did 8.5. And then because it's 6 and my box is 9, I needed an extra piece. So I cut another piece that was 2.5 by 8.5. And then I had a little bit of a gap in between because I should have cut it just a little bit wider. But that's okay, because that led me to add a different color paper that I'll show you here in a minute. So these are just the pieces that I grabbed out that I thought were rather striking. And I want it, because I'm going to be layering lots of, you're going to see what I'm going to be using. You can kind of see it in the periphery here. Using lots of different colors and tones. I wanted my background to be fairly simple. Hi, Deborah. Oh my gosh, I have 7 of you on. I feel so thrilled and privileged. It is such a busy time of the year. I was actually anticipating that I'd be talking to myself, but this is so nice. Tell me what you guys have been up to. I love when we get into some conversation. And if there's something that I'm doing that you want to know what it is I'm doing, let me know. Now, because I'm using the lights, I asked my husband to drill me a little hole, because that's where I'm going to feed our lights up through. And I'll show you that in a minute. Just spreading that one down. I mean, you could certainly put this down with glue. I don't think it would go anywhere even with glue, because we're attaching it to wood. And you know, these vignettes are great. And you really can't, I don't know why I was so hesitant to just do one, because I've been wanting to do one for a while. I think for me is what do I do with it once Christmas is done? Well, I'm just going to put it in my Christmas decor box. I'm going to put it out for now, and when Christmas is done, I'll put it away and then take it back out next Christmas. That will solve that. So then I'm using a little strip of this color here to kind of go in the center, just to build those 2 pieces together. And then that will be my backdrop. No, never late. Where'd you get this box? I got it at Unique. It's a 9 by 9 one, and it's standard. Like, this isn't a Christmas season box. The vignettes, you can get them, it's like an everyday product. So if Heather doesn't have any in right now, but you want one, you just let her know and she'll put it on her next order. And I love that they have on the online store now where you can add it to the wait list. I'm thinking that probably alerts them that somebody is waiting for something, and then they know to order it, but I could be wrong. So what I'm doing now is the little hole that was made for my lights, I just poked it through, and I'm just going to smooth down the paper. And you're not going to see that hole when we're all done. Now you can ink your edges of your paper if you want, but because it was going in flat, I didn't feel like anybody was going to see it. But these strips that I cut for the side, looks like a chair rail. It does. So these, as you said that, I kind of want it to have the impression of an outside of the house, but also an inside of the house. And you'll see what I mean when I start building on it. So yeah, you can certainly ink your edges, but for these pieces, and I chose the brick so that if you're on the outside looking in, the brick will be the building. I cut those 3 3/4 by 8.5, And I just took a black marker and went along all the edges for this one because I knew that the edges would show. So I didn't want that white edge to show. Now I'm going to use glue for this one because I'll need to wiggle it around a bit. Because what I want to do is I want to glue it flush with the top of the edge here. Not so much flush with the bottom, but I want it flush with the top. And that backdrop paper is double-sided. Now the Christmas line is a Christmas line, so once it's gone, then it'll be gone for the season. But I know that he comes out with everyday backdrops that you can use for whatever. So vignettes are great. Like, you can take any ideas you get from me today, and I know Heather's doing one as well. You can take those ideas and don't focus on it just being Christmas. Like, if you have somebody's wedding coming up, or birthday, or anniversary, Valentine's, like, you can do some awesome decor pieces. So I'm doing all four sides, and I'm just, like I said, I want it flush with the top and not the bottom. Because when we layer our pieces, I'm thinking that you're not going to see the bottom as well as you're going to see the top. That was my rationale. I love my glue gun. I put in my last order today for delivery before Christmas. And all I tell my husband is a gift is coming for me. So I have one more side. What are you guys up to today? What kind of Christmas activities are you into? Tell me a little bit about what you're up to. There. So that didn't take long. So the snowflakes are the top, and I put the brick down on all sides. And this is where now it's going to get fun. So everything that I'm using here today so far is Tim Holtz. The only thing that I pulled from my stash that's not Tim Holtz is this tree. And this one is from All and Create. It's a die. And you can get two different kinds of tree designs. And I had a bunch of these already cut out, some in green. So I thought that this will be really fun because I'm going to plump some little pink fresh balls in there. So I thought that would be fun. It's a little bit more whimsical than general Tim Holtz, but I thought it would be fun. You're just on your way taking the dogs to the groomer. They're getting all prettied up for Santa. So the Pink Fresh Studio, I love their gems. I think I'm in love with their packaging more than anything because it's not like they're anything special. A lot of companies make these kind of gems, but I just love their packaging. And this little dish, I can't remember where I got this one from, but I see Pink Fresh come out with them. So they have them. I don't know if Heather has something at the store that's similar, but what's neat about it is it's positioned so then I can dump it right back in your bag no matter what size of bag you have, and it makes it very easy. So we're just going to fill all these holes, and I'm not going to be very technical here. I'm just going to put a bunch of glue down and pop some of these balls right over the holes until I get them all covered. And there's different sizes in here, so I am trying to pick different sizes. And hopefully they'll stay on. This was a last minute idea because originally I had just the holes left open. But as we were getting closer to going live, I thought this would be nice for the holes to be covered. And I think they're going to sparkle really nice. You're going to see we're going to be putting lights around this tree, because every tree needs a little bit of light and sparkle. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue dot on the edge of this circle, because I don't want it to glue to my table. And there are some tiny ones in here. These ones are all looking like the same size, but I know there's some tiny ones. Now the glue, if you're not familiar with the glue, my Nuvo glue was all gone, so I refilled it with the oh, I can't remember the name of it now. The stuff that you can't ship in the winter because it freezes. Art glitter glue. And I like it because art glitter glue is a little bit more runny, and I find it comes out of the glue gun better. I can't get that one. I wish I was singing. I should have had some Christmas music playing in the background for us. Now, had I thought about doing this sooner, this is something I could have had prepared for us, but you guys are good. You'll stick with me. And if you have to go off, I understand completely. It's a busy, busy time of the year. Oh, I'm going to have my tree stuck to my table. Now here's some larger ones. I'll get one of these ones down here. These cover real estate quite well. Art glitter glue. Yes, Linda. The older I get, the harder it is for me. I can see the word in my head, but sometimes it gets stuck in there. I tell myself it's part of my aging. I want some tiny ones. Sometimes the tiny ones stay at the bottom of the package. These pickup tools are great, but when these ones here decide to roll over, because they're flat on one side and rounded on the other, I have the awfulest time of picking them up and getting them turned over. But I want some tiny ones for the outer edges. almost there. Glad you're not the only one. Yeah, no, my husband and I kind of tease each other because we notice it more and more. It's awful. Let's see. Oh, I see a tiny one down here. So you guys have family coming home for Christmas? What's some traditions that you have going on? This will probably be the longest part of this project. I just can't get them turned around. A little more glue. Gotta work faster because my glue's drying. There we go, on a roll now. I won't worry about the tiny ones, although I do like them varying sizes. You can use anything in here. You can use, you could actually use your Nuvo drops and put it on. The reason why I want something that's not taking any dry time is I want to put the lights on it. So if I had to use Nuvo drops or something liquidy, I would have not been able to do the next step until it dried. Oh, I found some really tiny ones. They're almost the same size as the hole. I like them. This is rather pretty on its own with no lights, but I'm thinking the lights is going to really shine. You go to your mom's Christmas Day, and then your kids go there New Year's. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah, traditions change, don't they, when we lose family members. Okay, oh, one more hole. And then we've got them all, I think. Let's see if I can find one of those itty bitty ones again. Not itty bitty, but it's good. Okay, I like that. And I think it's going to really sparkle. So that's what the kind of the tree looks like as it is. Doing something a little bit different, Carolyn? Christmas Eve with your daughter and her family Christmas morning. I bet you they're going to be delighted. And you know, change is always nice. Okay, so I'm going to put those things aside. And so this is my plan. I cut two windows, and it's the windows and the window boxes that you get out of the Biggs die. I'm going to show you what that is. So for those of you who don't know what a Biggs die is, these are those great big ones. It was the first dies that, pardon me, Sizzix ever did before thin lit dies were a thing. But as you can see, they're bulky. They cost a lot of money. Like, they haven't come out with new Sizzix dies in a very long time, except for Alphabets, and I don't know if other lines come out with the big ones, but they're very big. But they're steel rule dies, so what's cool about them, and it's still something that the thin dies can't do, is these can cut chipboard. So you can get some nice foundational pieces with your die. So I cut it out with chipboard. I did 2 because I'm going to have 2 windows. I cut it out with chipboard, and then I cut the pattern paper from that stack of paper that I showed you. Actually, this paper is different. This was half a package that Heather gave me, and it was the sparkle paper, all the different plaids. So I used 2 of these sheets to cut out the paper for the windows. And these, so then I had these acetate sheets. So this came in one of the Tim Holtz products that I got before. It was like kind of a mixed bag of things, adornments or something like that. So we're going to cut out pieces so that it's kind of stained glass. And this tree with lights is going to be behind it. I think it's going to be very pretty. And we're going to kind of pop all that up. So let's first get these pieces cut. And you know, it's only going to be in the back, so you don't have to be exact. So I'm just going to take my scissors to cut it. I'm just looking here to see. The windows are 1, 2, about 3 inches from side to side. Maybe I'll use my trimmer because I do have it right out here. So if I go 2.5 by 3.5, then we'll have pieces. So because I want it this way, and I think I'm going to cut both of them at the same time so I get it right, I'm going to do 2.5 this way and 3.5 that way. So 2.5, I'm just going to have a quick, no, actually I think I'm going to go 2 3/4 because I want to make sure I have enough to stick. And if I screw this up, well then we'll do something else. By 3 3/4. I can trim some down, but I can't add to it. Oh, that's perfect. So I'm just going to put a little bit of score tape around there. I'm going to get my different size score tape out here. I have all the sizes in my little drawer beside me. This score tape is really easy to cut. Suk Wang. How it must be a Chinese invention, I'm thinking. It is good tape. The best double-sided score tape. Now some people swear by the pink score tape. I just find that's hard to work with. It does, it's definitely got good stick, but I find it's a struggle to get the pieces off. And then we'll do this one. Was anybody to the store today? I think there was a class this morning when I was posting this one here, and I do apologize I didn't give much notice of it. Because I didn't want to not post a picture. I was trying to get enough done to post a picture, and then this morning I just said, well, let's just take a picture of my container of goodies. Then after I'm done this, our son is treating us and cooking us dinner tonight, so that's awesome. I don't have to worry about that. might make some cookies. Just some, not sugar cookies, shortbread cookies. Either tonight or tomorrow. And I already have a stack of stuff that I'm going to be working on in the new year. Some of it's just for me. Like I have so many All in Create stamps that I've been purchasing and just piling up because I've been busy into the Christmas zone. So I'll definitely be doing some personal crafting, and anything that I do personally I just post on my Facebook page, as well as sometimes I'll do a blog post on it. I have a blog site that if you don't follow me there or over on my own Facebook, please do. And then I usually just tag Unique into it. So there's one all done, and I'm going to tack this other piece down, because especially if I get the products from there, which all my products have been coming from them anyway, I like to tag them into it. And if they're not in stock by the time I get to use them and you really like them, just give a shout out to Heather, and she never has an issue with ordering something in for someone. But for classes, I have to pick my dates, but I know I am going to be doing some scrapbook layouts this year. I kind of haven't been doing them, so I want to start doing those. So I'm going to do some scrapbook layouts, and the first line that's coming for me is the new simple vintage snowdrift. So I'm going to have fun with that. So stay tuned for that. So there's my two windows with their stained glass on them. And now I kind of want to thread up my lights. So these are the Tim Holtz lights. You get two in a package. Now the batteries don't come with it, but it tells you right on top what size batteries. And I think you can get the batteries at the dollar store. So what's cool about these lights is you don't have to use the entire strand if you don't want to. But I feel it's wasteful if I cut them, so I'm using the entire strand. But if you just want it like this many lights from your button to here, you just cut it. And it doesn't affect the lights. Now the lights on this end that's not attached won't work, but you can cut them. But today we're using all the lights. I love lots of lights on my tree, so we're definitely using them. So I'm just feeding the lights up through that little hole, just like this. So this back piece will stay, and you can you can even feed it a little more, depending on how large you want your hole. But this back piece is just going to stay on the outside of the box. For now, I'm just going to try to washi tape it down, just so that it's not flying all over the place. But when I'm done wrapping it around my tree and anchor my tree, well, then we can really tape it down. I just don't want to make it permanent until I'm ready to. So I'm just going to take some washi tape and just stick that down for a minute, as well as flatten out that wire. And the wire is really, like the wire that's in it, it's really bendy. You can bend it, and it's protected in a good plastic casing, so it's not going to damage it. And these puppies, like the light that they give, are brilliant. They're like, they really light up. Just taping that down, and there's a little on and off switch. Okay, so I can see that this is going to be challenging. Maybe it's better while I'm working on it just to leave the end hang. Yep, I like that because then it lets me be flat. So for my tree, all I'm doing is I'm going to start up here, and this is why I liked this tree as well, because it's allowing me to go in between the branches, and the lights bend really well, and I'm just wrapping, and there's enough space between the lights so that you can really get a good wrap and still have your lights kind of centered. And I'm just going to keep wrapping these around. I tried it once already to see if it would work, and it does. Of course, I'll never get it exactly the same way, but that's okay. And there's going to be lots of bulk here. I shouldn't say lots, but there's going to be some bulk here. So we're going to actually put our window on dimensional tape. And you can backtrack as well. So like, you know, when I get down here and go through the last light, I'm just going to start going back up again. And I'm really trying to focus to make sure that the lights are in the tree and not behind the tree, but some of them might get stuck behind the tree just because of the way it is. But you wait till you see this little thing lit up. It will be beautiful at night. Now you could certainly cut out more than one tree and stack your trees to give you a thicker tree to work with, but this is actually working out for me. So I want the light to be behind the tree. Something like that. Now I have to think. I didn't think too far ahead. So how am I going to tape this tree down? My best bet's going to be Sukwang or score tape for a few reasons. First, it will help me anchor the lights down on the tree base. But also, it's going to be behind something else, so it's not like I have to secure it so tight that it's not going to have the freedom to move a little bit behind the window, because that would be kind of nice if it shifts a little bit to give it that twinkle factor. So I'm just squishing my score tape down in there, and I'm going to try to peel it. And then I'm going to put another layer after I peel this one. I just got to get it down on one corner first. But yeah, there's this plastic coating. If you have, this is my first time working with the lights, the tiny lights, and they do have some Christmas ones that are multicolored, like just out for Christmas. But I really like the clear lights. And I bet you can guess what I have on my tree. It's clear lights. I feel like the ornaments and the decorations give enough shine that dance off of the lights. I like colored light trees too. They're just all so pretty. Okay, I'm just going to get an edge up here. Okay, so down we go. Pressing down. I'm going to turn them on, make sure they work. Look at that. That is some shine. Now I know it feels like all my lights landed here, but it's not going to matter, and I'm going to show you why. That's actually good positioning. So now my window is going to go over this, but I don't want it being pushed, so when we turn on the lights, you're going to see it through the window. Isn't that cute? So I need to put my window on enough dimension. And I kind of want, so it doesn't matter that this little bit's out there. I can pull this through and lay that flat. But I want to be able to put a star top on our tree. And I do have some little stars. So this is trinkets from Christmases past. But I do have some flat stars. Now let's just see which one, if it's too big. Yeah, that one's going to be too big for it to fit in. And I have candy canes and things in here too that we'll utilize in this little tray. I like these little tin trays. I think this star is going to be perfect. So I'm just going to put some glue down on that. And our glitter glue is pretty good glue. I'm just going to hold my finger there for a minute and position the star the way I like it. And I'm going to get some dimensional tape out because we need to add a fair amount of dimension to this tree, this window. Let's see what I have here. I have the regular tape, but I think my friend in this case is going to be these. I love these 3D foam strips. I love them. And what we're going to do is just peel off strips and we're going to add them. Scissors. And this is what I use like if I'm doing shaker cards. So like these windows would make, and panels would make fantastic shaker elements. But I don't need them for that today. I want them for what they are, a window. So that's one layer, and I know that that's not going to be enough. Nope. So we're going to peel this off. And do another layer. I wouldn't be surprised if I have to do at least 3 layers, maybe 4 on this, which is okay because I think it's going to be worth it in the end. Just putting it right over. And I'm not going to be putting it down the center or the crisscross of the window because it's not going to give. Like nothing's going to be sitting on top of it that's going to push it down. And it's with chipboard. So it's pretty sturdy on its own. What do you think so far? Is this something that you could see yourself doing? I hope so. And like if you don't have the big dies for a window, you can certainly use the thinlits. And instead of using chipboard, you just cut it out multiple times, like maybe 6, 8 times, and stack it. And you're going to get the same sturdiness as what you would if it was chipboard. So that's 2 layers. Not quite there yet. And I'm just looking at it. You know what? I don't think I'm going to get my star in there. And I'm not going to waste it if I can't see it. I'm not going to waste it. In order for me to get past the baubles, and do another layer. I don't think the star is going to fit there. And that's okay. You love the ideas, you were stuck as to what to do. Well, I was too for a long time, and I started with, how I started is I just gathered, because I knew I wanted to focus on Tim Holtz, I just started gathering all the dies in things that I had that I thought would make a good dimensional display. And then for dimensions, I had all kinds of crazy ideas going on in my head. I thought about making almost like a triangle to have a window on this side and a window over here, and I'm thinking, okay, this box isn't big enough, but if it was a 12 by 12 box, maybe. So I'll keep that idea tucked into the back for another time. But I do believe they warrant dimension. So whatever you're putting in, like, use your foam tape and pop things up, because that's the beauty of having the depth of the box. And you can get crazy with paints and inks and sprays, but I knew I'd have a lot going on just in the different pieces I was going to use. So, and that paper is just so beautiful on its own. I really didn't want to do much to it. I hope you guys are okay with a little bit longer video today, and like I said, you can come back and check it out later. But it's kind of my grand finale for 2024. And it's been a great crafting year with you guys. Okay. I think this is going to be it now. I'm not going to center the tree. I'm going to move it over a little bit to the side, and I'm just going to go for it and press this down. Yep, 3 layers did it. When I pull on that, it's not moving. Ta-da! I love it. And I'm okay with all the lights over here for a reason. But before I show you the reason, I do have a second window that I want to put up. So this second window is going to be flat, and I'm going to put it up into this corner. But before we put it up, I looked through my Tim Holtz people pictures, and there's this one here of a family with a Christmas tree. So I'm thinking I would treat this like it was an apartment building. So here's one window, somebody has their tree right in the window, and then this is actually going to be showing the family through the window, cheering to Christmas. So I am gonna pop it up a little bit just to get it off of the picture, but not too much, just like 1 layer of popping. So we're gonna put some foam tape around here, and then we're gonna pop that down. And I'm gonna put my foam tape a little bit up from the window edges, just so that it's the people in the picture that's the focus. And again, I'm not using this as a shaker, so my foam doesn't have to be touching or anything like that. And I just want a little bit of dimension. It's almost like they're cheering New Year's Eve in that picture, or Christmas Eve. I'm still looking at my star. I mean, I could put the star on the outside of the window. We'll see. Now I'm going to get my picture. I'm going to position this over my picture. I'm trying to get it so that it's not over any character's head, but that's good. So it's behind there. Now all I have to do is put some score tape on this one. Maybe I'll use the wide stuff. I like using my little scrapey tool as the edge to trim my tape. A lot of people use different things, but I find that works good. And to protect my fingernails, I use my craft knife. Because there's nothing worse than driving that paper up under your fingernails. So now we're going to put this one down. Now I have little toppers, and I'll show you that die. This is a separate die. So I have little toppers for the windows, so I want to make sure that I have room for the topper. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it from the dots to help me line up good. So that's what we have so far. We have 2 windows. One apartment has the tree right in the window. Now you can have like 2 packages of lights come, or 2 sets of lights come in a package. So I could have certainly used another package just to kind of tape around here to have some light up here, but I didn't have any batteries. I only had the 2 batteries. So I thought we're gonna just go with this for today. Now I am going to stick, this is one of the toppers. So these are called, it's another Biggs die, and it is called, oh, I don't have it out. Oh, yes I do. Pendiments. That's what they're called, and there's 3 different styles on there. So again, I cut them out with chipboard, and I just put the paper onto them. So I'm going to stick them down here with score tape, but I am a little bit concerned that they're going to dip. So I will put some of the square adhesive foam tape up there, and here I'm just going to put the double-sided tape. So I think it will come together quite quickly because I have my pieces cut and covered. If we were doing that from scratch, and this is the other one that I chose, so it's more of a rectangle, so that's going to go up here. Again, I don't want it to kind of get pushed and dip, so we'll add some foam squares to that. So I'm going to put it right on the top with the double-sided tape, but then some foam squares right here and here just to kind of stabilize it. Just looking for my foam squares. I want the big ones, not the small ones. I have a couple here, but I might have to grab another package. Oh, no, I have enough, I think. So I'm going to put probably 3 on this one because that's how much I went up with the layers of foam before. And I'm going to take the backing off. Trick is to get it centered, and I do not have a straight eye. There's one, and for this one, probably 2 will do it. And that's perfect. I probably could have used one more under this one. Just pulled it up to see if I could sneak it. There we go. So that's our window toppers. And then these windows also come with window boxes. And I'm just wondering how I want to utilize those. I almost want to put it flat. Oh. And I'm not sure if the windows tops, there's no pictures on these big dies. It shows it with this part up. So that's what I'll do. So I'm just going to put some sook wing, and I don't know how much of these bottoms is actually going to show when we're all done, because we have some other things that we have to put on here. What do you think? Darren, if we're having supper, you probably soon have to go for groceries. I'm on live. They're out there saying some bad words in conversation. Have to keep them in check, right? That's another reason why today is our last live for the holidays, because it gets hard with company and people coming and going, which I love. That sparkly paper is very pretty. So again, don't get hung up on the big dies. If you have them, wonderful. If you don't, there's lots of companies that have window dies, and I'm sure Heather probably has some in the store. Elizabeth Craft comes to mind. She does some nice dies. So there's our windows. There's our lights. And now we're going to build outward. And we still have a snowman that I want to do. So if anybody's watched Tim Holt's Hoopla, Holiday Hoopla, you would have seen him do some, it's called Foundry Wax, on one of the little vignette bits, like these here. And I have this package, but I also have a snowman on its own, and we're going to do the snowman. He did his in silver. I don't have silver, which I'm okay with. So I'm either going to use, it's called Mind, which is kind of like a copper, which may be cool, or a gold, which will also be cool. It's probably the gold. I'm going to pull that out because you remember, when this box is done, it's going to be standing on its edge. So we do have a little bit of an edge here that we can sit things on. So I'll show you it laying down, but it will be standing up. So we're going to do that in a minute. That's fun. But I want to get some more elements down first. So another Biggs die that I have are the Victorian carolers. And the die does cut out both carolers. It's a man and a woman. And it's called the Victorian carolers. And I cut them out with chipboard. And I covered both sides. So I just cut them out, cut paper out to match. Because I wasn't sure what color. But I definitely want to go with the darker. Because it kind of makes them look like they're more in the shadows of the night. And this is what I meant by, I said I'm kind of happy that the lights are all on this side, because I want my carolers to be kind of like on the outside of the window. And she's going to be here, and he's going to be over here. And I might only have room for one, because let's just see how this plays out. So if I did use both of the carolers, because I have this dude, and I have the sled from Tim Holtz. So this is a thin-lit die, and it is so nice. So what I did is I ran paper through a wood grain, the Tim Holtz wood grain embossing, 3D embossing. So craft paper through the embossing folder first, and then I cut out the wood planks from that, and then just cut out different color cardstock for the rest, and built the sleigh. So I put the sleigh all together. There's little dots that you can use like screw heads, but what I did is I used the Stamperia Contour Black and just made some little dots, and it made it look like nail heads. So that's cool. And I had this guy. So what I really want is also this guy kind of hanging out outside this window with the sleigh. So I'm thinking I'm only going to have enough room for one caroler. And when the box stands up, she'll be right there. So do I want her, or do I want the dude? I think I want her. What do you guys think? So this will be flat on the window, but I do need to put some dimension behind the bottom part of the sleigh. So I'm just going to mark it with my finger. Where's my pen? There's my pen. So I know I need to put dimensional tape down below that line, because this is just going to stick right on here. And I can just use glue for that. So let me look at my tape. I don't need great big ones for that. So these little squares will do. And I had a friend that passed away, and before she passed away, she gave me a bunch of scrapbooking items, card making items, and in that group of stuff was all this dimensional tape, and every time I pull out certain ones, I think fondly of my dear friend Carol, who loved the craft very much. And I'm so thankful that she thought of me to donate her some of her stuff too. She donated a lot of stuff. It was more than what I could handle, that's for sure. So was able to help out some local groups like 4-H, the scrapbooking group there, the nursing home for crafts. So her items are floating around and she'd be so happy about that. So I'm just going to take, where do I need glue? Just going to put a little bit of glue down here. I don't think I need a lot. Maybe up here. What hits, hits. What doesn't, it will dry. That's good. And then this little man, I want him kind of leaning up against it. I want him in front of the sleigh. So I think I'm going to have to put some dimension on his body. And I want some big ones. How you doing? I hope I'm not boring you to pieces. Yeah, they're gone now grocery shopping, Carolyn. I have to, because they don't hear anybody in here with me, it's kind of hard for them to remember that I'm actually am conversing with people. They probably think I'm in here talking to myself. And I'm going to keep going up the body. And that should do it. He is going to cover up some of the partiers though, but that's okay. The partier's looking in the window. Well, that's coming together nicely. Now for her, I don't really have to, because again it's chipboard, so I'm not fearful that it's going to get bent. So I'm just going to put some strong tape, the double-sided Sukwang or score tape, whatever you happen to have in your stash and whatever you call it. And I think she'll stick nicely to the top of the window. Not too bad. It's just a little over an hour and we're getting there. Yeah, she's not going anywhere. So that's that. And the window, what else do I have here? The other thing I had cut out, but I won't be using it, is a pedestal. So like I had the, what's this one's real name called? Bell jar with pedestal. So I had this one cut out too, but I'm going to save it because it will, and I cut out a piece of acetate. This would make a lovely shaker card. So that's called the pedestal. And you never know, I might find room for it on the outside, but I don't think I will because it doesn't quite go with the theme. But I'll keep that, and I'll also keep him, and I can use him on either side for another project. You know what, he would go nice over here on the edge as the additional caroler. Haha, I think I might do that. That's all right, Carolyn. We'll talk to you soon, and stay well. Yeah, I think I am going to put him on the outside. I like that. See, things you don't think of until you kind of position them around. So I'm just putting some double-sided tape right here and a little bit down here because I knew that's where his footing was. That might be too much. And I can just take my powder tool for any tape that is sticky. I'm going to wait though. I'm just going to leave the tape there, and I can take my powder tool and get rid of that stickiness. Now there was some greens that I had, extra greens for when I cut out the sleigh. I cut out some extra greens in case I wanted to utilize them here. And I'm just wondering, again, that might be something that we put on the outside. Do a little bit of holly. I think what I'm going to do is leave that, and I'll take a picture of it sitting up with the finishing touches on it. But let's do our snowman. And then I have this tin full of trinkets. Again, this isn't from this Christmas, but they're those tin little, I know there's a name for them. And then there's some of these when it says wishes, hope, snow, some candy canes. So I can add some of these things in afterwards, some bells. So I might be able to add some more of that in and around to just bring it out. So once I put the man here, that's another level again. So I'm going to put this to the side, and we are going to work on the snowman, and we will do him in gold. So I've got to shake, shake, shake. So this is foundry wax. There's gilded, there's the silver, there's the mined, and I don't know if there's another one or not. So and this is just a scrap piece of paper that I'm going to use as a palette. You can certainly use, well, maybe I'll just use the glass because it will come off the glass rather slick. And you do have to work with some purpose. So I have some alcohol that you will need to clean your brush. So I'm just putting a little bit in my little red Solo cup. So you'll need that. You'll need a brush to paint it on, and how Tim Holtz showed it. I'm going to do it that way because I thought it was pretty slick. I'm just looking for my popsicle stick. So what he did is he took some double-sided tape, because you need to heat this sucker when you're done. And that's the thing with the gilded foundry wax. It's not permanent until you heat set it. If you don't heat set it after it dries, it will just kind of turn to powder and wipe off. The sleigh is a Tim Holtz die, and I will show you that. I just had it here in my hand. It's this one. And it is so much fun, and it comes together. There's a lot of pieces, but it comes together very nicely. So it is called Vintage Sleigh, and the number is 666339. Unique did have one left the last time I looked. If she doesn't have any, reach out to Heather. I'm sure she can get you one. Because these ones here these ones here stay in circulation for a long time. So, you have to make sure this stuff is really mixed up well. And then we're going to paint with purpose. So we're going to give him a good paint all the way around. I have my heat gun ready to go. So it's the same kind of jar as, and you don't need a lot, that's probably too much. It's the same kind of jar as alcohol ink. So I'm just going to take my brush, and you don't have to be, what's the word, careful. You just paint it on. Just get it all on. Because when it dries, it gets really thick. And that's if you paint him on and you don't have, like, it smoothed down, it will dry chunky, but that's a good texture. Actually, I don't have enough. I think you can get different sizes of snowman and Santa Clauses too. And I'm probably going to do 2 coats because when I'm looking at it, it dries really fast because it's kind of like an alcohol ink. Well, it is an alcohol ink, but it's got a waxy component to it. It's all in their secret formulas that makes them different. But I think I will let it dry, air dry, and it's like almost drying as quick as I put the product on it. And then we'll do another coat. He must have had one of the miniature ones. See, he didn't take, I think he only had like half the dot of stuff. But I'm glad to use it because it's like everything else that I have. I don't use it enough and I forget how to use it. So when he came on and showed that, I was pretty tickled. So I'm just kind of wiping my brush in here so it doesn't get stiff. And I'm not going to dry him yet. I'm not going to put heat on him because I want to give it another layer. I'm just going to wipe off my brush. And I'm going to start where I started the first time, so with his hat, because if it's not very dry, it's just going to brush off. And I want to get a good layer down. I hope it works as slick as he showed it. I can't imagine it not. You're on your way to buy a plaid suitcase to make one of those. That's awesome. You mean like a plaid suitcase vignette? Like a huge suitcase vignette? That would be spectacular. When we lived in our other house, which was much larger than this one, I actually, oh my gosh, Margie, if you do that, you gotta send pictures, post pictures, because that would be spectacular. When we lived in our other house, I purchased a couple of different vintage suitcases. I had my husband saw them in half, and then he mounted them to the wall, and they became shelves in my craft space. I loved those things, and they were old, like they were old suitcases. And I know, like, if some people would probably say that I'm really doing a disrespect to vintage suitcases, but I loved them, and they were repurposed, and I got to enjoy them and build little showcases on top of them. I'm not going to get too fussy because I do want him to be vintage. So the other parts, and once we dry them, I'm going to go over them with some crayon. So I'm just going to leave him settle there, clean out my brush. because I don't want my brush to get ruined. Just going to clean it out really good. And I'm just going to pour a little bit of this alcohol down there. And then just take my towel, my rag, this stuff, and swipe it up. So the stick comes in handy to, and I'll see if you can see it, but you can see it go from a wet to a very dry, almost like a smoky look when it dries. And I'm seeing it kind of change. I don't know if you guys can, but it really makes the shine come out. It gets very shiny. And that is sealing in the wax. And it's, he was saying that the foundry wax is different than an embossing powder because it doesn't matter how much you heat it, it's not going to ruin it. Or embossing powder, if you heat it too long, it turns into liquid and it loses its ability to stick. Not foundry wax. So there's no... Oh, and it's kind of smoothing it out. You guys see that shine? It's really smoothing out the paint. Oh, it looks so pretty. There's some areas where I put a lot down and it's just spreading it around. Oh my gosh, he's so pretty. I wasn't loving it, I tell you, when I was doing him. But now, look how shiny he is. He's like a Tin Man. That is marvelous. Now, he's still a little hot, so I'm just going to give him a minute to cool off. Won't take too long. And I'm going to take my popsicle stick away, and I can toss that. But isn't he cool? I really like that. So I'm going to get out my... Oh, maybe I'll just take a piece of this paper towel. It's going to take my rag that I use, but I'm just going to take a piece of paper towel. And this is the part where you can grunge them up. Now, you can certainly leave them as is. And these are the only 3 distress crayons I own. The crayons didn't do as much for me as the pencils. I love the pencils. But the crayons, pardon me, I use as fillers. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to take one of these word. This one says winter. So depending on what color you want it, I'm just going to pick this white. So I like the crayons too. It's almost like a putty. And you can rub it into the words that are debossed. So any kind of trinket that you have with words that are debossed, if you run your crayon with it, and it won't work with the pencils, it almost acts like a putty and it fills it in. The pencils aren't soft enough. So then your writing really sticks out. And you can see your winter. So that's one of the things I like doing with the crayons. So I have 3. And the other thing is 2 antique items like this that has little crevices. So I'm going to use black. And all you do is you're not careful at all. You're just kind of going over the humps and the bumps. and the snowman himself has texture, but because of how I put on the wax, there's some bumps made from that. And the crayon is water soluble. So you're going to take a damp piece of paper towel, and you don't want a baby wipe, because the baby wipe's going to be, you're just going to wipe it all off. So you just want like a damp. And then you're just going to rub it over your snowman, and it's going to spread it around. Now you can even damp your fingers. Can you show that wax again? I sure will. You just hang on. It's called Foundry Wax. I think I need a little bit more dampness. Oh, see, too much. It took it all off. But you can put more on. I'm just kind of dabbing, and I'm going to take my fingers to spread around the crayon. And you just want to get it into the crevices. Like, you can cover these also with gesso and then paint them with your paints into whatever snowman color you want. But I thought this foundry wax on it was just very cool. So this is it here. It's called Distress Foundry Wax, and this one is gilded. They also have Mind, and there's also a silver one that I don't have. But they look just like an alcohol ink. It is a flammable liquid vapor, so it's kind of in the alcohol ink family, but it's called Foundry Wax. It's different than the alloys. It's different than the other metallics that are in the set. They do different things. I have crayon all over me now, but that's okay. It's all washable. So I kind of like where the grunge is now on him. And you can go lighter, you can go darker, but I like his little grunginess. I'm just getting my fingers a little damp just to mix that over. So he's pretty cute. So he will stand up in our box down here. And I probably won't even put any adhesive on the bottom, because it'll be interesting for people to pick up, to be able to pick them up and look at them. So I think I'm just going to have him sit there. So I'm going to take us to a close, and I will definitely, because the majority of it is done. The only thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my man to the side. So our other caroler, I'm going to have him hanging off the side. So I know I'll do that. And I do have some little holly pieces that I might have hanging down from like the top part. I also took out the Distress Snow Paste Snowfall, which I may take, and well, not I may, I will. I'll take my palette knife and I'll just put an edge of snow along the tops of the windows, maybe a little bit along the top, because this is going to be standing up. So it's a vignette, and it's going to be standing up. The light's I'm going to tape the light to the back, but this will be kind of what it looks like, but standing up. I'm really liking it. I am so glad that I took this journey with you folks. I hope you like it as well. And I will post a picture of it amongst my other Christmas decor when I get these other final pieces done. I wish you all a very, very happy Christmas, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. If you don't celebrate, that's perfectly fine too. I just wish you a blessed rest of this year. And I may sneak in again before the new year. It all depends on what happens in my personal life and if I have the availability to do so. So if not, we shall see you in the new year with some fabulous projects. We'll talk to you all later. Toodaloo for now.